G'day, Tragic here, and it's been a while since I've done a video, but I do have a new pack, the new Lord of the Rings, Watcher in the Water. This is actually the first one of this series. I've got all the rest on order, but they just not turned up, so I just went and bought this one because I didn't have it on order. You can see I'm sorting through my Call of Cthulhu collection. Here are all my ones that I am missing the third copy of, or, you know, I'm actually missing a whole bunch. I'm hoping they're in here somewhere. But I haven't done a video for a while, and hopefully I'm going to try and do some more, but I'm going to try and do it a little differently. I know everyone loves all the pop-ups, the card pop-ups, and I do love that as well, but I just do not have time to do the videos. So I'm going to try this way and see if this is any good. Let me know. Let's just zoom in. How do we zoom in with this thing? Meow. Okay. We still see? Right, here we go. So, what have we got here? Aragorn. So this is the new Aragorn card. Very, very, very ridiculously powerful. Like, it's sort of stupid how powerful this card is. Hope you can read that. Let me know if this is worth doing. Basically what it does is it says Sentinel and refresh action, reduce your threat to the starting threat level, limit once per game. Now, he's got a threat of 12 because he's Aragorn. He's got all the same stats as Aragorn. And Aragorn is one of those heroes that is, I believe is too expensive to really use. But this action is incredibly powerful. Obviously it combos with Bilbo, obviously, not Bilbo, Frodo. Obviously it combos with Boromir. But one of the real uses for this card is the Secrecy Deck. And what I mean by the Secrecy Deck is that it's a deck where you I think it's called Secrecy Dump or something. It's a deck where you use card draw to pull into your hand a ton of cards and then play them all through Secrecy. So you're using Gildor to swap high cost cards out, you know, and using that Secrecy card to place things on the table, and basically you could cast everything for nothing. So I don't know whether the deck is actually going to be a fully functional thing. Like, Secrecy's too new to really know if it's valuable enough, but either way, there's at least 3 decks that this guy will own in. But he's got a very, very high threat value of 12, so he's really only, for Secrecy, he's really only good with 2 hero decks. And but he is good as a threat resetter in, say, Aragorn and Boromir is a good deck, and Lore and Tactics is actually a pretty good combo. Okay, so what else have we got here? Monsters. Okay, so these are player cards. Well, it's a little bit of a mess because I've actually looked at these before. Okay, so what have we got here? Let's try and... What have we got here? We've got Grave Karen. Response. After the character leaves play, add its attack to another character's attack until the end of the phase. Well, this is an interesting card. I think there's a lot of these going out of play effects are starting to add up, you know. Horn of Gondor obviously being the first, Eagles of the Misty Mountains being one of the more powerful. And, you know, there's a hero that combos off them, what, Prince Imrahil or whatever. So, I mean, these are starting to really add up, all these effects. And if you're playing an Eagles deck with Eagles flying out of the place, and if you're playing, like, you know, a deck with lots of chump blockers, then this is a good card. I quite like it. Leadership is getting some really nice cards recently. Okay, a sword that was broken. Artifact attached to a hero. Attached hero gains a leadership resource icon. If attached hero is Aragorn, each character you control gets +1 will. Okay, so trying really, really hard to make Aragorn playable because he's pretty much not. But yeah, I mean, the resource icon for 3 is practically worthless. I mean, well, it depends how many characters you're running, I suppose. If you get a really high character count deck, it could be very good. But I don't know. I don't like this card particularly much because I don't play Aragorn. But if you're playing Aragorn, there's no reason why you wouldn't play this card, I guess, because it's just a note that the attached hero gains a resource icon, a leadership icon. That does not mean that if you attach to Aragorn, he gets 2. Okay? He still only has 1. So if you attach this to Aragorn, he does not get 2 resources a turn, which a lot of people seem to think he does. Okay, Mr. Ridiculous Pants. This guy is awesome. Watcher of the Burn. He's got Sentinel, which is great. Watcher of the Burn does not exhaust to defend. Okay, so he can attack after defending, not bad. Forced. After Watcher of the Burn defends, either discard it from play or discard 1 card from your hand. So, why is that good? Okay, why is this a particularly good card? Well, basically there's a hero coming, I think it's in the next pack or it's in one of these packs, is a Tactics hero, and he can dig cards out of the graveyard, specifically Tactics events, and put them back into your hand. So this guy's effect actually sifts your deck, right? So you can pick and choose your cards directly. So you have card draw, you've got card discard, and then you've got card fetch. So it's quite a powerful effect. Now, I don't know, I think this guy is a pretty decent card. You know, he looks like he's not that good, but he's got 2 defense, 2 hit points. He's got a sifting mechanic. He's got Sentinel. It's pretty powerful. So every single time, so basically his ability doesn't matter if you're running that other hero. I think his name's Hanamarth or something. He's coming in either this pack or the next pack. Rivendell Bow. Okay, so attaches to Noldor, attaches to Sylvian, 1 per character, and the character gets ranged. And if they've already got range printed on them, they get +1 attack. So it's a kind of, you know, multi-purpose thing here. It's like 2 different spells, basically. We've got it either gives ranged or it gives a plus attack to people who have range. Note that it says printed range keyword. Now printed means that it actually needs to be physically printed on the card. Okay? So what that means is if you have, say, that Duodane thing that gives people ranged, and you have that on some random character that does not have range physically written on the card, then you will not get the +1 attack. And it only works on Noldors and Sylvian, so it only works in very certain decks. But for the decks that it does work in, there's no reason why you wouldn't run this, I don't think. It's a good card. Okay, and here's Mrs. Crazy Pants. We've seen Crazy Pants, and now we have Mrs. Crazy Pants. Arwen, whatever that's pronounced. Response. After whatever that's pronounced exhausts, choose a character. That character gains Sentinel and +1 defense until the end of the round. So that is absolutely insane. She quests for 2, she costs 2 and she quests for 2. She's obviously a questing character. She's unique. But that effect is insane. Absolutely insane. Now, there's a deck going around, it's posted on Card Game Database by a guy called Hilarious Pete. I've done a modification to it, but it's called Brothers in Arms, and it uses there's these 2 heroes, I can't remember their names, they combo with each other, I probably should edit this and put them in. But anyway, they combo, and when they're both on the field, one of them gets +2 attack and the other one gets +2 defense. So with this card, that guy is defending at 4, and the other one, of course, is done here. The guy you can tap and scry the encounter deck. Yeah, so I mean those heroes suddenly start defending at 4 on turn when you can get her out on turn 1 if you're running a double spirit hero deck. So whatever, she's ridiculously powerful. Okay, and more threat reduction. Okay, this is Elrond's Council. If you choose a unique Noldor character, if you control a unique Noldor character, give another character +1 will. Who cares about that? Until the end of the phase, and lower your threat by 3. So it's a 0-cost card. It does have an effect that is quite cool because it lowers threat. It's got a +1 will. That doesn't really matter, but this is a sort of like a bit of a nothing card, but that +3 is going to count. There are some quests that are so threat intensive that I really think it's worth it. Okay, shortcut. After a location enters play, exhaust a Hobbit character to shuffle that location back into the encounter deck. Then reveal 1 card from the encounter deck and add it to the staging area. Okay, so yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this. There's a lot of these exhaust Hobbit cards because of fast hitch, the fast hitches being so common. But I'm not sure if I like this card particularly. I would prefer to run Secret Paths, which I do run quite a lot in my decks, to control those weird, oh my god, it's like 5 threat in one go kind of place. I mean, this does have its use. It costs 1, but it does require a hero to exhaust, so you need to have a fast hitch out. I just don't think this is a particularly good card. It might have some uses, but we'll have to find out. Okay, so Legacy of Durin. Attached to a dwarf hero. Response. After you play a dwarf character from your hand, draw a card. If you are running any dwarf heroes, you should be running this card. It's ridiculous and very powerful. I mean, obviously only in dwarf decks, but, there's nothing wrong with a card being specific to a deck as long as it can function in that deck very well, and this card will. There's a difference between a card being conditional and a card being deck specific. And this card is deck specific, not conditional. Okay, Resourcefulness. Now here's an interesting card. This has got the Secrecy of 3, so it costs 4. Hope you can see this. It costs 4, but with Secrecy it costs 3. And you attach it to a hero and he gains 2. Very, 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 very good card, as long as you have a deck built to function with it. And that means a deck that can handle Secrecy. And those decks are coming pretty fast and furious. There's a lot of these good decks. Well, people are a bit iffy about Secrecy still, and I can understand that. It's not quite there yet, but we'll see how it goes. And there's a bit of a worry among the Lord of the Rings community, actually, because it seems that mechanics just get forgotten. They exist for single cycles, So people aren't sure, are we ever going to see Secrecy again after this set? I mean, there's nothing to stop them doing it again, but haven't seen many eagles. There's apparently an eagle coming next pack, so maybe that's true. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, so I think that is all that's all. Okay, so that is all that. Pretty cool. Some very, very good cards in here. Especially Arwen. I mean, she is just bonkers. Absolutely bonkers, this card, man. +1 defense every time she taps, and Sentinel. That's insane. Absolutely insane. Okay, so next we have the quest itself. Okay, so, can you see? to the west door. Your approach is blocked by a large dark lake that slumbers beneath the face of the cliff. You must search for a way around the water. When revealed, cards from the encounter deck and add them to the staging area where there is at least X threat in the staging area where X is twice the number of players in the game. That's a very interesting startup mechanic we haven't seen before. So you could get 1, you can get 5, whatever, 4 cards. Pretty cool. Oh, that was 1B I read. Oops. Okay, 1A. Elrond had asked you to scout the mines of Moria and return to Lorien, hoping to discover if the source of increased orc activity along the Misty Mountains. Okay, remove the Watcher of the Water, Doors of Durin from the encounter deck and set them side out of play. Okay, and then reveal the cards. And it's got 13, so that's a pretty standard, not particularly interesting, not a lot of stuff going on in that quest. Okay, 2A. Gee, am I even in focus? I don't know if this is going to work. Okay. The others swung around and saw the waters of the lake seething as if the host of snakes were swimming up from the southern end. The doors of Durin are blocked by an ancient spell. You must figure out a way into the mines before seeking the bog, and the Watcher consumes you all. Okay. When revealed, add the Watcher to the staging area. Doors of Durin become active location, moving any previous active location to the staging area. Shuffle all tentacle cards in the encounter discard pile back to the encounter deck. Okay, so let me just read that again. Add the Watcher to the staging area. Doors of Durin becomes the active location. And any previous activation, okay. So that's pretty interesting. Basically, the Doors of Durin becomes the active location because you're obviously at the Doors of Durin trying to get through it, and shuffle any tentacle cards back. So the actual quest itself isn't that complicated. So let's have a look at the actual cards and see if there's anything funky-doo happening in there. Okay, so what have we got? Doors of Durin. And what was the other card we had to shuffle out? Watcher in the Water or something? The Watcher, here it is. Okay, so let's check out the Watcher. Maybe it's just because I've been looking at Cthulhu cards, but that looks very much like one of these deep ones. Okay, the Water. Regenerate 2. While there is another tentacle enemy in play, the Watcher cannot be optionally engaged. If the Watcher is in the staging area at the end of the combat phase, each player must deal 3 damage to one character he controls. Victory points 3, 48, 7 defense. My God. 9 and 5 attack. The defense is, really the defense is getting out of control, Not so much out of control. It's completely controllable. The attack power we're getting in our decks now are just ridiculous. You've got a 2-player deck that on turn 1 is hitting for 10. So it's probably not even high enough yet. Still, the 5 attack is still very relevant though. Now there's this thing called Regenerate 2. Now let's find out what the hell that means. Doo-doo-doo. Difficulty level 5. Do regenerate. An enemy with the keyword regenerate heals damage from itself equal to the specified amount each round. Okay. Okay, so he regenerates 2 per round, and the regenerate happens as the round starts when the person gets the first player token. Pretty interesting card. Obviously, unless you can take him out really quickly, sort of like one of those big worms from the marshlands, but a lot more hardcore. He does have a threat of 48, which means you really shouldn't be fighting this guy at all, as in ever, unless you want to. There's no reason. But if he's in the staging area at the end of the combat phase, each player must deal 3 damage to one character he controls, which is pretty intense. So actually, take that all back. You want to engage this guy ASAP. Doors of Durin. Gate. Progress tokens that would be placed on the Doors of Durin are instead placed on the current quest card. Each player may discard any number of cards in his hand, then discard the top card of the encounter deck. If the first letter of the... What? If the first letter of the encounter card's title matches that of one of the discarded player cards, add Doors of Durin to your victory display. Okay, that is the most ridiculous mechanic I've ever heard. It's kind of cool, but that is weird. So what you're going to do, have I got this right? Is that right? What I think that is that you've got to discard cards. You have to discard any number of cards from your hand as you want, right? And then discard the top card of the encounter deck, right? And if the letter of the encounter deck, the first letter of your card's title matches the first letter of the encounter card's title, then you pass the Doors of Durin. You're going to do it once per round. And it's each player. So, again, much easier to do in single player. So this is really, you really need to know your encounter deck backwards. Let's see, we've got DSP, M, S, I, D, W, 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 G, 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 T, 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 S, 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 S. So, I guess S is got the most, because there's 3 S's in locations, and there's also 4 S's in striking tentacle. 5 S's. So there's 5, 6, 7, there's 8 S's in the deck. So I guess they got the most, but it's pretty random. Pretty random. Now, it's only got to match one of your player cards. So, again, draw decks win the game. If you got like 20 cards in your hand, chances of beating Durin in one go is pretty much guaranteed. Interesting and yet strange mechanic. Okay, stairs, falls, travel. The first player must exhaust 2 characters to travel here. Remove 1 progress token from the current quest. Is the shadow effect, and it is 2 threat and 4 to quest. Pretty benign card, not much to say about that. Perilous Swamp, 4 in the staging area, that's pretty heavy. 2 to pass, so it can be done quite easily with a tracker. Okay, no more than 1 progress token be placed on Perilous Swamp each round. Okay, that's actually a pretty interesting. I like that. Still, you can get him out of, you have to put him into play. He takes at least 2 to run, and that includes him in the staging area. So that's interesting. So even though he's 2, it takes a minimum of 2 turns to get him. That's cool. Makeshift Passage. 1 in the staging area, 5 to pass. Forced. After you travel to Makeshift Passage, place 2 progress tokens on the current quest card, bypassing any active location. That is a very weird quest. Again, this is a bit of a, what's the word, pattern, I guess, in this game. Travel locations that have cool effects only have 1 threat, so you want to use it, but you can leave this in the staging area for a long time. There's 2 of them. And I quite like the fact that I really wish they had more benign locations, because I don't see why locations have to be bad. I mean, obviously, you know, if it's like some kind of gross swamp, yeah, obviously it can be bad. But, you know, I don't know. I think it's cool that there are locations that are actually beneficial. You know, you go there because they're good, or you know, turn some weird corner in the forest. You know, you go around a bend and then suddenly there's a beautiful tree and it's really nice there. You know, I think I'd like to see more benign cards in the locations. I mean, you know, make the enemies as evil as you want, but you know, I do like the idea of there being actually benign places that you can go, you know, for the party to rest. You know, it makes thematic sense to me. You know, making camp, finding somewhere to chill out. Stagnant Creek, 3/3. That's a very standard card. 3 is usually too much to track. Most people seem to run 2 trackers. If you're in a multiplayer game, running 4 is common. But you only really need 3. 3 trackers on the table is actually way more than you really need. Still, when revealed, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If the discarded card is a tentacle, add that card to the staging area and raise each player's threat by 5. Okay, there's 3 of them. That's pretty cool. So, tentacle must be a monster type. So let's... yeah, the tentacles are monster types. Okay, next we have Ill Purpose. When revealed, all enemies in the staging area engage the player with the highest threat. When each player raises threat by the total will of all the cards in the staging area. What? All enemies engage the player. Okay. Attacking enemy gets +1/+3 instead if it's a tentacle. Wow. The card's fucking insane. Ill Purpose. There's only one of them. That's lucky. That's a very, very full-on card. Eleanor might see play again. It's worth noting that the tentacle has 4. Go away, cat. This is my cat. Go away. Go away. Okay, it's worth noting that the tentacles have, what, 4 attack. 4 attack where my thumb is. And 3 attack. So, that shadow effect is really powerful as well. Kill most things. Incredible. Doomed 5. Disturbed Waters. Awesome. So that's got Doom 5. Cannot be cancelled. It's not a when revealed effect, so that's just Doom 5 right in your face. Here's a tentacle. This is also a tentacle, even though it's a treachery card. That is very interesting. What was this other card about tentacles? Oh, shadow effect. Yeah, so it doesn't affect it. Okay, when revealed, the first player attaches warped to a hero he controls. Counts as a tentacle attachment. I saw people talking about this in the forum. This is not a condition attachment. It says a tentacle attachment, which is obviously a different word to condition, so you cannot get rid of this with Miner of the Iron Hills. Limit, 1 per hero. Attached hero cannot exhaust already. At the end of the round, discard attached hero from play. Combat action. Exhaust a hero you control without a tentacle attachment to discard warped. Okay, so that's a very, very cool card. I really like that. Great theme too. The tentacle comes out of the water, grabs you, drags you down. One of the heroes has to dive in and save you, and therefore he can't attack the enemy because he's busy saving you. Awesome card. Really like that. 4 of them. Okay, and now we're on to the enemies. Grasping Tentacle. Forced. When Grasping Tentacle is attacked, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card has a shadow effect or is a tentacle enemy, Attach this card to an attacking character as a tentacle attachment with the text, attached characters' attack and defense are reduced to 0. Attached to a character. To an attacking character. Wow, that's insane. That's pretty full on. There's got to be a way to get rid of that. Okay, Thrashing Tentacle. Force. When Thrashing Tentacle is attacked, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If the card has a shadow effect or is a tentacle enemy, deal the damage from the attack to one character by attacking player controls, ignoring defense. Okay, let me read that again. When Thrashing Tentacle is attacked, discard the top card of the encounter deck. Okay? If that card has a shadow effect or is a tentacle, deal a tentacle enemy, deal the damage from the attack to one character and attacking player controls. Okay, so if you attack with 3, you draw a shadow or you draw a tentacle, that 3 damage actually hits you, basically. There's a whole heap of them, and they all start with T. T, T, T. Oh no, that's a different card. Striking Tentacle. Here we go. Striking Tentacle. Forced. When Striking Tentacle attacks, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If the card has a shadow effect or is a tentacle enemy, this attack is considered undefended. And he attacks for 4. And he can possibly attack for, 7? If that shadow effect is on. So that's pretty insane. Let's have another quick look at the rules. Secrecy X, Doors of Durance, Setup, Regenerate. Nope, doesn't say anything about... well, I'm going to have to ask about that, because... when Thrashing Tentacle is attacked, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card has a shadow effect or is a tentacle, deal damage... Oh no, that's the wrong one. Thrashing Tentacle. Here it is. When Grasping Tentacle is attacked, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card has a shadow effect or is a tentacle enemy, attach this card to an attacking character as a tentacle attachment with the text, character, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, there is no way to get rid of this card that I know of. You know? So if... Wow. Luckily he's only got 0 defense, so he's easy to kill. But, that is an insanely full-on card because you can get rid of it. Okay, so that's the quest. Very, very cool. Lots of attachments and stuff from the enemies, and that makes sense, you know, coming out and chomping face. Let's find my favourite arts. It's definitely none of them. It's definitely not that one. Definitely not that one. I'm not a big fan of tentacles. Let's just zap past all the tentacles. That one's pretty good. Let's put that in the maybe. I'll try not to pick a landscape again, but that landscape's really good. That landscape's really good. Oh, that's awesome. Best card in the set. Okay. So, best card in the set for the player cards. Focus, focus. There you go. Arwen. Absolutely ridiculously powerful card. That is insane. Favorite card in the set is Warped. Again, I already talked about how it's very thematic, and I just love the way that this card works. Awesomely designed card. Best art in the set is Shortcut. Look at that. Awesome. And all in all, that looks like a very, very cool quest. I'm out of Dragon Shields, unfortunately, so I can't sort this out. So I can't wrap these all up, but yeah. So this is a pretty decent set. I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm happy with this game in general, obviously. I will see you soon. I don't know whether this is going to be worth watching though, so let me know and tell me whether I should be bothered to do these, because I just don't really feel that I have time to do those other... The way I was doing it was just taking too long, and I just don't have the time, you know, especially with some later commitments. Awesome. On a side note, because a lot of people have been asking me, this is how I store my cards. This is my Call of Cthulhu ones. And you just lick them like that. And there's 3 in each, and these are already sleeved in Dragon Shields. This is a Ultra Pro binder, and then I just cut the box. So a lot of people like to keep these boxes, but I cut the box and put it at there. So unfortunately my Lord of the Rings one is lent out to a mate, so I can't show you, but what I do is I have all the player cards and everything sorted by box, sorted by release box, just like that. So box, and then it goes out, and then the next box. Simple. So that is Ultra Pro binder. That's what I'm doing here. Bought some new binders, sorting out some more cards. Well, I had fun. See ya.